Hey, good morning, everyone. Welcome to Banner and Backbone. I'm Nick Perro with my good friend and fellow Banner and Backbone um, co host and contributor, Melissa Corrigan. It's good to see you, friend.
Hello, hello. Good to see you.
And we wanted to introduce the first episode of the Banner and Backbone's Anti-Fascist Book Club. Um,
Yay.
and go over it and give some people time to come in and join us. But we wanted to, since a lot of us live in red states and many of us want and are hungry for information and ways that we can actively support and uphold our Constitution, fight back against the oppression and the fascism. Welcome, then. You are in part one of that step, which is becoming part of the Anti-Fascist Book Club with us. So, Melissa, would you like to give a little introduction before we shift over to? We have some cool screens. We're going to do some fancy stuff today. We're getting all big, um, big fancy on the Banner and Backbone side. Um,
Yeah, screen
so,
sharing
good
and
morning,
everything.
Melissa.
Good morning. I am so excited to be working on this project. I am Melissa Corrigan from Counter Story Media, and um, I've decided to take this on as a project of my own in my own personal community. And I have gone out and initiated a couple of interest meetings for the Anti-Fascist Book Club in our local community. So we are going to have two face-to-face clubs here in Hampton Roads, Virginia. If you are in this area, just look us up. I'm sure get in touch with me and I'll let you know where we're going to be. So, having a virtual version of this, I know a whole lot of my followers, when I posted about when I would have my interest meetings for our local clubs, were like, oh man, I don't live there. So, I am going to direct them all to join the virtual club so that we can not only go through the book club together, but also you can learn how to start a book club in your area as well, because we are hoping to empower you to start a club in your area.
Fantastic. Yeah. And that's the thing is empowerment and action and engagement. We're at the point where if you don't want to be engaged, I don't know what else to do for you.
Yep.
And this is a simple way to do it because your biggest anti fascists in your area tend to be librarians because they're the keepers of knowledge and
Yes.
information. Um, and they will protect that knowledge and information just like dragons.
Yes.
They will guard their hoard well. Um, and they encourage folks. And that's why, so this all is coming about. I'm going to switch to our next screen, which don't worry, you'll still see the both of us. Um, but it is, we're going to be bringing up the Veterans Fighting Fascism webpage and their anti fascist book club that Chris Goldsmith has put together, a good friend of the show, friend of the network, fellow veteran, and Nazi hunter. Um, and so he's helped provide us with some really good tooling um, and ways to engage with each other. And one of those is what we're doing today. It's the Veterans Fighting Fascism Anti-Fascist Book Club. Um, and so we wanted to use some of the time this morning. We're not going to be reading too much today in terms of books, but we will give our book list for this week's first book. We'll be coming back every Friday, this time 12:30 Eastern time, for about an hour, almost like a little book report, a little book club. We're going to talk about it together, get folks in the chat to engage and see what and that you've this is a um, this is a participation event that we want to encourage. Is obviously we can't see all of you and know if you've read the books or not, but we'll know when you ask questions, have you read the book, do you know the content, and that's what we encourage. We want everyone to be able to come and ask questions with us. That's why we're doing it through Restream like this, where we've got my platform, Melissa's, Banner and Backbones. When we get some of our other co-hosts, we're going to have more of them in here as well. Hopefully, we can get some guests in, like Chris himself, at points to discuss stuff. But this is more about the actual books. Um, and so let's get into a little of what the book club is and what it isn't. Um, and Melissa, do you mind um, just giving a little overview from what you have experienced thus far without us having to read too much on the page yet? Is what have you experienced so far from working to start your own in-persons of what it is versus what it isn't so at this point?
Sure, yeah. So, like I said, I'm in Hampton Roads, which we are in a purpley state. Our governor is Republican, and we do have quite a bit of Republican community here. So, one of the first challenges I had to overcome when I was just putting up paper flyers for this project was explaining to business owners who were a little nervous having a flyer that said anti-fascist in their window that we were in no way affiliated with Antifa. There's a place for Antifa, and that's fine, but we are in no way affiliated with them. Veterans Fighting Fascism is, like Banner and Backbone, a nonviolent organization. So that was number one, clearing up a little bit of the verbiage. And because of that, I tweaked the name of our local group just a little bit to Hampton Roads Veterans Against Fascism. Took that fight word out of there and made it just a little bit softer to make it more palatable to people in, like I said, a purpley area. So, what I did was set up a couple of different interest meetings, one in the morning at a local coffee shop and one in the evening. And the morning group, and I definitely had like an idea of who may be interested in this and come out, and I thought it may be college students, veterans who were more left leaning, community activists, advocates, stuff like that. And in my morning meeting, that is for the most part what ended up happening. Whoever RSVP'd, only one person RSVP'd to the online meeting. So it would have been easy in that moment for me to cancel and just say, you know what, I'm not, because I had to drive through a tunnel to get there and pay a toll. But I figured, you know what, I'm going to go and just hold a space there. So I went and grabbed a table at the coffee shop and set up one of my little paper flyers on the corner of the table and just sort of started doing my own work. And three different people came up. I sat there for a couple hours, and three different people came up, took the flyer, got information. They've reached out to me since then. So I would encourage anyone who's looking to step out in this way and maybe start a book club in your area, to not give up if you don't get a lot of initial interest, especially online. People will, click yes to RSVP online to a zillion things with no intention of really going. So you have that. So I just encourage anybody that's going to start a book club, first of all, yes, I did mine on Meetup, have an online RSVP somewhere, but also don't put a whole ton of stock into it and just go ahead and show up. And when you show up in that space and you just have some little marker indicator handwritten sign, you're more than likely going to get people that just walk up and ask you what you're doing out of curiosity, and you can start conversations in that way. And again, I had to clarify the messaging. We're not related to Antifa, we're not associated with that at all. But something I really did not anticipate, and this has caused me and my husband to really think about the ways we're going to manage the evening book club. And
Yeah,
I'm going to be very, very cautious with the way I am handling talking about this. There were some people that came out for the evening book club that we did not anticipate at all, this demographic coming, and it wasn't anything bad. I was kind of
yeah,
scared I'd get MAGA people showing up, and it's not that. Um, but they are people that really, really need this information and want to be a part of it. We definitely clarified that they want to be a part of it, but they are in a pretty precarious situation for their own security to be affiliated with this. So it's kind
yeah.
of interesting. I am simultaneously running two book clubs, and one is completely open. It's going to be in a public library during the day. Everybody's invited, totally open. And the other, we are really working on ways to establish a secure location and secure communication, because these are people who literally have been informed their phones are being tracked, for example. So we're really working hard on developing a safe space where these people can come and learn this information and educate themselves while obviously maintaining their personal safety. So as you can see, just from my little two examples, this book club is gonna look different in different spaces for different communities. And then our virtual version is obviously going to be even a different
Yep.
iteration of it. So I guess the first thing I want to get out of the gate is that this isn't very strict. It's not very rigid, and it's definitely going to be something that you can customize to your community.
Yeah. Yeah. And the I like that you said I appreciate that you're doing two groups and that you are so willing to work with the folks who are there and who need it and really want it. And that's part of all of this is I'm going to work to start my own, also in the Bentonville area of Arkansas. So any of my Arkansas friends, who I know I have a couple in the chat with me in my side of the stream. I've got all three of our streams open, so I'm taking a look at everybody's chat. So if you have any questions, please feel free to ask. I'm monitoring all the chats that we've got open. We got over 100 people here right now, which is that's incredible, y'all. Because if each one of you decided you wanted to go out and do your own anti-fascist book club after this, or even got the idea and talked about it with some friends, if if each one of you talks to one person, that's 200 new people. That's 200 people that could be involved, and only 100 of us did anything. And it's super easy. It's free, but it's also one of those you got to be safe about it, especially right now. And I think it's really smart that Melissa, you're doing some really safe things for your second group, um, because things are going to get more extreme quickly,
Yeah.
unfortunately, where we are. And that's part of why we're doing the veterans fighting, working through the Veterans Fighting Fascism webpage and through their anti fascist book club. Because if we can get this information and learn it quickly, also, you have knowledge, and
And
can spread
knowledge
that
is power.
knowledge is power.
Right.
Um, and that's why, just like everything, none of our content is paywalled. Like none of this is paywalled. None of this will ever be paywalled. Also, it's not our book club. We're starting a book club from somebody else's idea, so we're not going to paywall their book club.
Mm-mm.
And the quicker and faster we can read and get new information out, the better. We're going to do one book a week right now, because that's too much if we try and do more. So let's get into the maybe a little bit of reading of what the Anti-Fascist Book Club is by their own standard and their own definition and what it's meant for. And Melissa's basically covered all of this already. Um, is it's meant to be a community-driven initiative. So the big thing here is our community-driven initiative, which means not just out in the wild like we're doing online, but also then bringing it home and actually doing it in your community, because you stop fascism at the community level, not at the national level. Um, and so it's to educate, organize, and empower. Um, and those are really key right now, and that's a lot of what we try and do with Banner and Backbone, with our platforms in general, is educate, organize, and empower. So fits really well with our mission, just in general. Um,
Right.
and
And I wanted to add, and I'm going to shoot Chris a
yeah,
message later, and I hope he doesn't. I hope he doesn't mind that I've added a piece to his, because I have educate, organize, empower, but in there I have communicate, because we are having to learn, as I learned from that evening book club, we are having to learn entirely new modes of communication and how to effectively communicate messaging like this in an increasingly surveilled environment. So you
yeah,
want to be able to effectively communicate what you're doing in the book club to the community, and you want to be able to effectively communicate within the book club in a safe manner. So I will say that I have become intimately familiar with what a Faraday bag is. And if you don't know what a Faraday bag is, it is, well, if you've been to a Jack White show in the past 5 years, he gives you one. But you put your phone into it and it blocks all signal and it cannot listen to you. Um, so, a little bit of the structure of our evening group. We are meeting in one location. We are all putting our phones in airplane mode in Faraday bags, and then we are moving to a separate secure location to actually have the meeting. So, I would say that communicate is a very important additional piece to this, to learn how to communicate, like I said, with the community in a way that they don't think you're having some Antifa meeting, and to communicate amongst one another.
Yeah. And one of the things too that Banner and Backbone is starting, and it's not public and it's not available for anyone at the moment, but we're starting to work on our communication channels for just not just for us, but for the community in general, so that people can talk and be able to get messaging across and hear things quickly in a safe way that is secure, that doesn't always leave you exposed. Because, like Melissa said, so information security is huge, and information tracking is even more prevalent than information security is. Um, and so I love that idea. And I mean, we've had Chris on for a couple of vet talks, and I think he would really find that a great little addition um, to this, as well as I think we could entice him to come to a show or two, to a book club
Oh,
with us,
absolutely.
and talk about it, because I know he's read every single one of the books on the list. He curated this list overall for anyone in the audience. Chris Goldsmith, friend of the show, Nazi hunter, host of the Find Out podcast, founder of Task Force Butler, Veterans Fighting Fascism. He does a lot. And so he curated this list of anti fascist books, or books about fascism and how we prevent it or fight back against it or push back against it and restore our systems,
And I
and
will
make
say, he's
better
done such a
systems.
good job. If you want to start a book club in your community, there is an entire guide, step by step, laid out how to start your own book club.
Yep.
And so I really appreciate, I've done book clubs before, and a lot of times you're just kind of on your own. And I really appreciate that he's got a really nice structured program. Well, it's military. We're military. We do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. It's
It's a
very
SOP.
army. Yeah, yeah, it's very keep it. It's the KISS methodology for at least
Yes.
the Army was keep it soldier simple. I'm assuming on the Navy it was keep it sailor simple. Um, it's just keep it stupid simple, which means keep it straightforward to the point. Don't use
Yes.
fluff words. Chris is very good about that. Like it's an SOP, or a standard operating procedure
Hmm.
for those who don't know. Um, and it's just step by step how to do this bullet list, and his goal is so that he doesn't ever have to be involved, because it's a mission command driven structure, which is very army, which is very US military in general. It's how we are structured since World War II. Is everybody from the top down knows exactly what the mission is and where you are in the chain of command, and can take over leadership all the way down to the last person in line knows the mission. And that's how he's organized it, is every one of us can start this, and it doesn't rely on Melissa and I being there for you after, say, this session. Like, you could realistically after this go, and I'm going to set up some flyers, I'm going to go talk to my librarian, and I'm going to read this website and make sure I know what to do to set up my own club. And I would encourage everyone. um, so we're going to skip over just the first part of how to start your own, because we're starting it. Here we are. Hey,
Here
everybody.
we are.
Welcome to Banner and Backbone's official anti fascist book club. Um, we're going to, he does have to stay connected, at least for receiving newsletter updates, but I do like your update idea, at least on the mission of learning how to communicate effectively and safely.
Hmm.
Um, is let's get into our reading list. And we're going to read, or at least introduce, part one of the reading list, and which book we're going to. So he puts together, Chris Goldsmith put together a curated list of books for us to be able to go through. And it helps to prepare for the challenge ahead. We may call it a book club. We're also including websites, podcasts, articles, and other essential anti fascist media. So below in this list and in the show notes for this, we'll obviously include all of the links to everything, as well as the link to the first one, which is going to be number one. And we're going to probably read as many, if not all of these, if we can. Um,
Mhm.
and number one is maybe the shortest of them. It is an SOP that Chris has put together on the comprehensive guide of Task Force Butler and what they're about, the historical and theoretical foundations of fascism, and providing a clear and actionable definition. If we know what fascism is and how to talk about it, then we can use the right words.
Right.
Um, so, what do you
Use the
think about
right
this
words
first one?
and identify the actions when they appear.
Yeah. Um, and so we're gonna keep we'll keep the episode for another probably 5 or 6 minutes before we go. So we're right about at the half-hour mark for today. But the first book on our reading list, or the first one on our reading list, is going to be the Task Force Butler. What is fascism? And I've sent it to all three of the chat streams. Um, it is this, like I said, is more of an SOP and a guidebook, a quick read through pamphlet, um, of what fascism is and can it happen here. The answer to that second question, obviously, is yes. It can happen here because we're experiencing it happen here right
Yeah,
now.
in real time.
Um, yeah. So I just want to I'll scroll down so everyone can see. It's like the intro chapter to a longer text, like a longer textbook. This is going to give you the highlight and overview of various components within uh, what is fascism and can it happen here. Um, and I think everybody needs to read this, specifically now that we are in the youth indoctrination loyalty piece and the grievance end of fascism. And once we get into grievance, things start getting fast,
Yeah.
and escalate. So I'm going to encourage everyone for our first week to read What is Fascism, by Chris Goldsmith on Task Force Butler's webpage. We will make sure this is linked into the show notes, so everyone has it. Maybe Melissa, I or both of us will write up almost like a short little book report about it so that we have
Oh,
stuff to talk
absolutely.
about.
Yeah.
Um, you all do not need to do that, but if you want to for yourselves, for if you want to start your own groups, this is a great way to start. So, Melissa, I'll hand it over to you for a couple minutes, and get your thoughts.
All right. I definitely want to look for a little further down the book list when we start getting into actual physical copies of books. If you don't yet have this little handy dandy, you should. You should have had it yesterday. Um, so if you're going to pick this up, try bookstore.org. Try going into your local bookstore. We want to try to keep money out of Bezos' pocket if any way possible. This is a quick, easy read at first glance. Once you kind of start getting into it and really breaking it down, it can get a little scary, especially considering where we are now. But there's so much solid, great information in here, and it's super easy to read. He writes in a very clear and easy to understand way. He is an academic professor, Timothy Snyder, but he does not write in that way for this little book. It is very clear, very straightforward, very easy reading. You just have to wrap your brain around where we are. And I think this is a great book to help you walk through that in a way that's not too scary. Too scary. He does
Yep.
keep it very down to earth. But go on now. I've looked up, let's see, Strongman's on sale right now, actually on bookstore.org. So just try to pick up your book and try to check your local library. My local library did not have a copy of Strongman, but once I submitted an inquiry on the website, and they're going to go ahead and order some when they place their next order for new books, so that we will have it in our public library. Like Nick said, librarians are, if you don't understand this yet, librarians are the coolest people, and they are absolutely anti-fascist in cardigans. They're amazing. I have a librarian that I work with in outside Chicago, who has been distributing my one-page pamphlets, and he works at the library, and you would never guess that he's distributing these little pamphlets. So librarians are going to be a good friend to you. So go to your local libraries. Number one, you can reserve rooms. I am in a library room right now. Almost every single library, anybody who has a library card can reserve a room for free. And a lot of these libraries are really underutilized places, so there's not much competition to get those rooms. so, so if you're looking for a place to hold your book study, a public library is an excellent, excellent place. Also, as an aside, I just want to encourage everyone to go get a library card from your local public library. Those numbers help keep them getting funding coming in, and since their funding is being drastically threatened, we want to make sure that we show the community, the local government, that these are utilized spaces, they are important spaces, and we do need them. So go get a local library card, and if you're comfortable now. My book club wants to, my morning book club prefers a coffee shop environment. So, they want to be able to have their drinks and stuff. But yeah, so actually getting your hands on the physical copies of the book is number one, and asking your local library to order those books, and just put it on their radar if they don't already have those books already. So that's probably for today. Just going over the familiarizing yourself with the website would help, and going ahead and getting your order in for those books.
Yeah. So what I would recommend then too for everyone is, like Melissa just said, get your order in for On Tyranny. Um, and that way we can have, for next week will be What is Fascism, which is our comprehensive guide from Task Force Butler. And maybe we introduce the and do the Together You Can Redeem the Soul of Our Nation, do both of the first ones since they're shorter.
Right.
Um, and um, and then on week 3 we get into On Tyranny.
Yep.
Um, unless we start moving faster and we have to start reading even faster, and if that's the case, we all got to figure out how to get extra hours in our day.
Right, exactly.
um, but this has been a great start, I think. Melissa, thank you so much. um, and I look forward to seeing you again next Friday, as well as everyone else. All
Absolutely.
almost, we have almost 150, if not a little bit over, people between our 3 streams. So thank you everyone for joining us. I'm Nick Parrow. This is my good friend Melissa Corrigan, and we're on Banner and Backbone at our first virtual anti-fascist book club. Um,
All
so
right.
I I appreciate all of you. And I look forward to seeing everyone next week. Melissa, you can stay on if you want for a second as we end the stream. Um, but if not, I will see you later too. Thanks, everyone.